And welcome back to the Scarlet to the Land podcast. I'm your host, Cody Croy, joined by, of course, Big Jake and one of the newest members of the Buckeyes recruiting class, the first member of the 2029 class, wide receiver Ausin Miller. How you doing?
Doing great.
Good to hear. Well, you currently attend Bellflower High School in California, and you recently just committed to Ohio State. But I just want to ask, what is it? How does it feel to be a Buckeye now that your commitment is now official?
Yeah, it's a great feeling, being welcomed into a society so quickly, and also, joining the lineage of first round receivers.
Absolutely. Well, Jake, if you want to ask away.
Yeah, like before we get into all the football talk, I want to know what's on the playlist before the game. Who you listening to get locked in?
Yeah. I listen to like a variety of artists during the games. It's never like anything crazy, but usually like Lil Durk or Future.
Okay. Two great artists. Listen to both of them. You listen to any NBA YoungBoy?
Yeah, I do. I do. I do.
That's my guy. And when I watch some of your film, when you get to the line of scrimmage, what are you looking for pre-snap to help you break down a defense or identify coverages?
Yeah, well, first thing I do when I get on the field is I focus on my alignment. So you gotta make sure you know where you're at on the field, make sure you know where you're at in terms of what route you're gonna run. And then our receiver coach, he calls it the triangle, which is basically where the corner is at, where the linebacker's at, and then where the safety's at.
You have committed to Ohio State very early. It's not something we see every day. And I wanted to know what was the moment that you knew that, Columbus was where you wanted to spend your college career.
Yeah, so the moment I knew is I knew in like the first 15 minutes. I got to campus, I met everybody, we went through a tour of facilities, I met all the players, and then really the moment that sold me and my family was when Coach Day, Coach Hankton, and Coach Devin Jordan, they took us in the meeting room and we talked how they were going to use me for the next 3 to 4 years for over an hour.
That's great. And, speaking of the coaches, with Cortez Hankton and Ryan Day, I wanted to know, like, what have your conversations been like with those guys and what excites you the most about playing for them?
Yeah, Coach Day, he's a guy who like he's gonna hype you up so much that you'll be ready to run through a brick wall for him. Like, yeah, he's it's the stuff that he says. Like, he just got that energy about himself where it would motivate you to want to go to battle for him. And Coach Hankton, he's from Louisiana, so he's got the Baton Rouge accent. I've spent a lot of time in Louisiana, so we hit it off from there. And we actually found out that he played against my dad in high school. Yeah.
That is awesome. Small world, huh? Love that. But no, yeah, that's always been a thing. When we went on our championship run, the other year, they dropped a lot of those videos of Ryan Day in the locker room, and
Yeah.
the fan base rallied behind. This is a guy you want to play for, like, and a lot of the guys, have echoed that. Um, so you already kind of mentioned it. Ohio State is widely looked at, has built that reputation of being wide receiver you.
Yeah.
So what does it mean to you to have the chance to continue that tradition?
In stone that, the best receiver in the country goes to Ohio State, and I consider myself the best receiver in the country, so it was only right.
Yeah, we
Absolutely.
certainly agree. And then I'll ask one more, and I'll pass it off to Cody. I wanted to know, NFL or college wide receivers, who do you study the most, and what parts of their game have you tried to incorporate into your own?
Yeah. I watch Jameson Williams a lot. I watch his old Bama tape a lot. I watch him in the NFL, but, I get a lot of comparisons. A lot of people tell me that I play like Jeremiah Smith. I can see the similarities when I watch him just because we're both, bigger receivers who can move like smaller receivers in terms of speed and agility. So being able to, get those comparisons, that's really when I started watching his game. But I've been watching him since he was in high school.
Jamison Williams and Jeremiah Smith. You had one former Buckeye that transferred, obviously, to Alabama,
Yeah.
and a current Buckeye. So that's pretty awesome. But I got to start by asking you. I don't know if you even saw this, But Jet Harrison is now a Buckeye,
Yeah.
the class of 2028. He just committed. Your instant reactions to that as you look to be future teammates with Jet Harrison.
Yeah, we've had this in planning for a while. I talked to him a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
And we're gonna have another big 2028 receiver commit coming up soon.
Okay.
A little bit of intel there. I like it.
That's good to hear. So you heard it here first, folks, from the man himself, Austin Miller. Apparently, we're going to have another 2028 commit here pretty soon at the wide receiver position. But I just want to get into your relationship with Coach Day. Jake briefly touched on it. Just what kind of motivator is he, and what really drew you to Coach Day as a person?
Yeah. Me and Coach Day, we hit it off from the start. As soon as I came up to him, the energy was there. He's always fired up, even if we're in just a meeting. So when I first met him, our personalities just matched.
Absolutely. I want to talk about your dad.
Yeah.
'Cause your dad, I saw on a couple podcasts, yesterday as I was doing some research. Your dad, he's a coach, is that correct?
Yeah, he's the head coach at Bellflower where I go.
Gotcha. So your dad being your head coach, that's gotta be an interesting dynamic. How do you think that's made you a better player, and what have you taken from him?
Yeah. I think that that's made me the smartest player on the field. Like being a coach's son, coming up, learning the game really early. I think that, I'm always the smartest player on the field. So it's not many things that a
Absolutely.
coach can do, the opposing coach can do to, outsmart me.
Absolutely. Just talking about some of these other coaches on the Ohio, State roster, of course, Devin Jordan, Cortez Hankton.
Yeah.
What is the importance of a guy like Cortez Hankton who has played in the NFL? He played in the NFL for a couple of years. Does that affect, all the conversations you guys have had? What kind of wisdom has he been able to share with you? Just using his experience in the NFL.
Yeah, Coach Hankton, he played in the NFL. He is also inducted into the Texas Hall of Fame a couple weeks
Uh-huh.
ago. So, him having that experience of doing what I'm trying to do is, something that definitely brings us closer. And being his first commit, being the first 2029 Buckeye pledge was, a big thing for me.
We lost Brian Hartline earlier this year whenever he left to go become the head coach of USF.
Yes.
How do you see that the wide receiver you trained continuing under Cortez Hankton, under Ryan Day? Uh, just how do you see that continuing after losing Brian Hartline?
I think that, Coach Hankton has proved himself at other schools. He was a coach at Georgia, where he coached
Hmm.
Donnie Mitchell and George Pickens. He was also at LSU, where he coached Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors, who I actually know Malik. So
Okay, nice.
he's proven himself at the schools he's at before, and I think he will continue to prove himself at Ohio State this year and forthcoming.
Absolutely. Just you know, looking at your build, looking at the type of receiver you are, what role do you envision yourself fulfilling at Ohio State as a receiver?
I think that, Ohio State is probably going to use me the same way that they use JJ in certain ways.
Hmm.
JJ plays primarily outside, but he's big. He's a bigger receiver. He's 225. I'm only 200. But
Hmm.
one thing that a lot of people don't know about me is that I can do a lot of damage in the slot. Just the
Hmm.
speed, and when you put a big guy who can run really fast in open space, it's a scary sight.
Absolutely. So, just looking at these next couple of seasons at Bellflower, how do you want to grow as a receiver, and what do you want to do to improve yourself to be prepared for the next level? Of course, Ohio State, but even as you hope to make the NFL.
Yeah. So I run 4.5 right now, but I'm definitely trying to drop my 40, get as low as
Hmm.
I can. Probably run 4.3 before I leave high school. Um, Definitely trying to work on some other stuffs too, but
Mm,
trying to get ready for college right now.
absolutely. I think my final question for you is: you had almost 900 yards in your freshman season. How do you want to build off of that? And what do you want to do as a sophomore in year two and, of course, beyond? What are your goals for not only this season, but beyond in high school?
Yeah. Last year I set the school record for touchdowns with 22, and I also set
Hmm.
the all-purpose yards record with 1,573. So that's going to be a big year at the top. But I could say that last year I wasn't as good as I was now in terms of like my development over the off season has been it's been crazy to say the least. Just to see the speed factor come in, getting bigger in the weight room. So I think this year I'm gonna be a problem that everybody's gonna have to deal with.
Absolutely. Well, Jake, if you have any more questions, more than welcome
Uh,
to ask.
yeah, we've talked a lot about Ohio State, but again, just like my first question away from football, what's something about Austin Miller that people would be surprised to learn?
One thing about me is I'm always doing something football related. Like when I'm playing video games, I'm always playing college football 26. I'm always using Ohio State. I'm a big movie watcher, and
I'm a big movie guy myself, so can I ask what your favorite film is?
paid in full. Yeah,
Oh, Paid in Full, great movie, great movie. Grew up on that one, loved that. And so, it's a new landscape of college football. Not a lot of people are used, especially of a player at the height that you are at, already committing, and I wondered, are you still going to be taking visits over these course of this year? Or are you pretty sold in on coming to Ohio State?
The plan that we had to attack my recruitment was we're not gonna, sit back and let other schools recruit me. We're gonna go and recruit the schools that I'm interested in. So I think that I've taken all the visits that I needed to take, and finding Ohio State was the last visit, and it turned out to be the best visit, and just had to lock it in because it was nothing else that could top that.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Austin Miller not going to take any more visits at the moment. Um, Anything else, Jake, on yours?
I would say just lastly, I mean, with this whole wide receiver the reputation that this university has built, obviously Cody touched on it. We did lose Bryant Hartline, and a lot of people, thought obviously, oh no, this is the end of wide receiver U. But I just wanted to hear your thoughts again, just pretty much on Cortez Hankton and why you believe that he is the guy that will continue to, make Ohio State wide receiver U.
Yeah. I spent the entire day with Cortez Hankton. I spent the entire day with him. I spent the entire day with his family, his little son's trip, and getting to know him, getting to know his background, getting to know his coaching background, getting to know him, in general was what really sold me on, believing in him, believing that he can be the next great receiver coach at Ohio State, and me coming to be his next great receiver at Ohio State.
Absolutely.
We're talking about a great duo, with the news dropping Jet Harrison coming. We got Austin Miller. I do appreciate you coming onto the show, man.
Yeah,
It's amazing. I'm excited for you to be a Buckeye. Just we appreciate it big time.
yeah,
Again, just as Jake said, we want to thank you for your time and go Bucks.
yes, sir.
Go Bucks.
Want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Scarlet to the Land podcast. That was 2029 newest commit, Austin Miller. Not ranked yet, could be a 4-star, but could also be a 5-star wide receiver. So when those rankings drop, it'll be interesting to see. Um, and as we touched on earlier, we just landed 2028 number one player in the class, Jet Harrison. I just want to take some time as we close this out. Your thoughts on that commitment?
I mean, it's one of them things that I feel like everybody expected it, but it just feels so good to finally see it all play out. And he did
Hmm.
choose Ohio State, and when you're talking about a talent coming from that family like Jet. I remember when Marv was talking about. I think he may have been a sophomore at that time, saying that he was much more talented than he ever was at the
Yes,
age that he was at.
yes, he did say that.
And I don't think. I mean, I understand brother showing some love, but from everything I've seen of that kid, he looks tremendous. And, with Austin coming on, awesome to have him. Very well spoken kid. I just think that's a duo to be very excited for. He sounds bought in to be a Buckeye.
Mhm.
Uh, dropped a little bit of knowledge on us about we got some big things coming. We
Yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah,
But yeah, man, I'm just very excited. I think just not this class in general. I mean, that's jumping into 2028, but with this 2027 class, we're not close to being done. You already got Ausin Miller 2029. Now you bring in Jet in 2028. The future's bright in Columbus, which that's what we do. We lose
absolutely.
players, we develop talent, we send them to the NFL, and we bring in the next group of elite guys to develop and just become great players and great men.
And, it sounds like Marvin Jr., he wasn't blowing smoke. I mean, clearly, the experts agree he's, not only the number 1 receiver in his class, he's the number 1 player. I believe Marvin Harrison, he was a 4-star recruit, ended up having a pretty fantastic college career, so maybe, he was, slept on a little bit while at or while in high school, coming into Ohio State, but, regardless, Ohio State, another 5-star receiver and the brother of Ohio State greatness and the son of NFL greatness, Marvin Harrison. So, but I think that's just about going to wrap it up. Want to thank all of you for tuning in to the Scarlet to the Land podcast. Go Bucks and go Browns.
Go Bucks, go Browns.